Scott Williams. Scooter joins us on Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B. Scott, where do those 3 rings hang out at?
I am right now. Sorry, I'm just finishing up on Etsy, finishing my order for. I got gifts for you guys. I got a 3-pack of LG Samsung flip phones coming your way.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
You each are going to have a flip phone to carry around. I can throw in a Sony camcorder, too. So you guys are going to be set for all your summer travel.
Oh, that's outstanding. That's hilarious. Outstanding.
Who's in there living in the year 2000? Which one of y'all still rocking the flip phone?
Jimmy B. Yes.
Oh,
Jimmy B.
I should have known it was Jimmy B.
Thanks.
I got the tail into that, and I should have put 2 and 2 together.
Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate you, brother.
Well, you're going to get a new flip phone courtesy of Scott Williams and his 3 championship rings.
Works for me.
How about them Suns, huh? I told you guys never to worry about those Suns. Never an issue. I never had a doubt.
Oh, whatever. All right, 7-game playoff series. We know the history of these 2 teams this year, last year, but everything changes when the playoffs hit. Starts on Saturday. What is it going to take for this team to make sure they get to that next round?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a small sample size, but these last 3 basketball games have got me rejuvenated the way the Suns have taken the court. Now, listen, it hasn't been perfect basketball, but it's been a better mindset, a more consistent mindset to go out there and compete. And, I think maybe it took getting embarrassed at home against the Clippers. When you hit and scored on your home floor against a team that's missing Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, and you're down 35-4. I was sitting in the plush seats right over there by the Suns bench, and the look on the players' faces, they had no idea what was going on and no idea how to turn it around. And something must have clicked after that basketball game that we're going to get labeled underachievers. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing worse in sports, especially professional sports, to get labeled as an underachiever. I don't care how much you're getting paid. That is the worst thing that could ever happen to a professional, especially basketball player, but a professional athlete. So they have taken the court these last 3 games with a different mindset, and they've gotten different results. So I like their chances. I think it's the mentality that they have to bring to the court. But when you talk about X's and O's, they got to stop the inside punch of the Timberwolves. They can't get beat up on the boards and beat up with points in the paint. And they got to be able to get those threes up, 30 to 35, maybe even 43, and shoot a high percentage. Knock down, somewhere between 33 and 38% of those threes. Suns walk away with this first round series victory.
Scotty, we talk about the emergence of Bradley Beal at the point. They win 7 out of the last 10 games. Everybody's saying that was the toughest 10-game stretch, let alone the last 10 games of the year, but throughout the season, as a lot of the pundits would say. So has it been the emergence of Beal kicking in and running that point, or is there anything else in particular you noticed?
No, it's been a different Bradley Beal. In March, I kind of started to waver and give up on this young man. Like maybe all those years in Washington, all that losing doesn't have him in the right type of mindset to what it's like to try to go play championship caliber basketball in the final 6 weeks of a regular season. But something has happened to that young man, and he has impressed me. Throughout that Clipper game that we talked about, that was the dud. And the kid's been over 22.5 points a game in his final 4 games. He's playing solid defense. He gets a stop in a must-win game at Sacramento, a defensive stop with the team up 1 in the final seconds of that game to salt away that victory. Then he comes up huge at the T-Wolves, where I want to say it was 25 or 26 points he went for in that game. So Beal has really turned it on. He's playing more of the point guard role now for this team. And I think it's made a huge difference on how these teams get in and out of sets. They used to be so bad in the fourth quarter of basketball games. but they outscored the Clippers on the road in the fourth quarter, 35-17. And, heck, I was going to say 6 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, we never would have thought that would be a possibility.
Scott Williams is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Okay, I know that Anthony Edwards, Beal locked him up pretty good. What do you expect? How is Anthony Edwards going to change his game a little bit so that he gets more freedom of movement and can be the Ant-Man that T-Wolf fans are expecting to see?
Yeah, it's really bizarre. The 3 games against the Suns, this is a kid that averages on the regular season 26 points a game, shoots 46% from the field. And versus the Suns in those 3 games, his numbers are an average of 14 points a game, so minus 12. And he only shoots 31% from the field. So whoever's on him, whatever scheme they have is working. They're keeping him out of his sweet spot, which is most important. And in addition to that, because good players find a way to score outside their normal, their go-to spot, but they're also forcing him in positions where he's completely uncomfortable and discombobulated to have him knock his shooting percentage off by 15%. This guy's one of the stars in the league, and that's been really successful. I believe. Listen, the playoffs is all about making adjustments, and they've had a week since they'll have a week since the final time that they played them on Sunday to make some adjustments to try to get Edwards in some better positions. Are the Suns going to hold this kid to 12 points a game, 14 points a game? Absolutely not. But they can't let the other guys get off, right? You got a rusty Carl Anthony Towns, who over his last 2 games that he played coming back from the regular season averaged 10.5 points on 7 of 19 shooting. So that you're probably not going to hold him to 10.5 a game, but you can't let him go off and have big 28 to 35 point scoring nights. In addition to Anthony Edwards, banging in his 30 points a night, which he does generally against the rest of the season, the league. So those are the 2 big guys. And the X factor, if you want to watch a player outside those 2, outside Rudy Gobert, it's probably Mike Conley Jr., who's got that moxie, he's got that playoff experience, that know-how. He could be a guy that could be dangerous against the Suns bench.
And Scott, talk about Frank Vogel, what you've seen this year. With you talk about adjustments, I'm sure Minnesota will make quite a few. The counter adjustments. How have you seen him adjusted as a head coach with the play on the court when you see somebody make different moves on the other side?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see and to watch because, as you know, not only game to game in the playoffs, but he'll have to have these coaches make subtle adjustments to either try to get a player on their team going or try to shut another player down on the other side. So I'm going to be watching to see how Coach Vogel, with his NBA championship experience, has got his team locked into the game plan. I want to see these guys calling out sets when they're getting back on defense and when it's a dead ball situation, they're coming back and facing a set. Because one of the things, not only Phil Jackson, but the leaders of the team, Michael Jordan, John Paxson, had everybody so locked into the scouting report on the X's and O's on the team's, I would say not every play, but their favorite 5 plays, where you're calling them out to the guys in front of you, the guys behind you, and you know what set's coming. You know where the ball's coming. You know where that primary action is. And then on offense, right, making sure everybody's dialed in. There's no lackadaisical one-hand passes that finds its way into the first row of the expensive seats. Because every possession, whether it be you give up a backdoor cut to a wide-open layup because somebody didn't switch properly or communicate properly on a side pick and roll or a side screen, or, just a careless, needless turnover is magnified when these teams are so evenly matched in a playoff scenario.
Scott Williams, Rocco Minucci, Jimmy B. Scott, the NBA handed down a major punishment for one of their players for gambling, and Jonte Porter from the Raptors, banned from the NBA. I don't know the whole story. behind the scenes. I know confidential information was shared and things like that. He bet on maybe one
Yeah.
game with prop bets. Two games that he bet on prop bets. Is that enough to ban him from the NBA with now gambling being legal everywhere?
Well, I would think that the NBA Players Association must have had a say during the process if they were going to give a kid a lifetime ban. And I hadn't heard what the Players Association did or has or plans to do, so I don't have any knowledge on that. But I will say Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, ain't messing around.
Yeah.
He got a multi-billion-dollar business that needs its credibility, especially after coming out of not that long ago, the official that was betting on basketball games, and he got obviously pulled from the league. So he's going to do nothing and send a message to the remaining 450 players in the league that any type of gambling will not be tolerated whatsoever. And in addition to, I think, some of the things the kid just making bets in the NBA, some of these prop bets, he was subbing himself out of games to avoid hitting certain numbers, coming up with illnesses or injuries to keep from getting certain numbers where there were, seven-figure bets on whether or not this kid was going to get 6 rebounds in a game. So that, to me, in addition to just making some bets, he's actually out there trying to influence the outcome, betting against his team to win, which, I think I heard Windhorse on NBA Today that I think the Raptors lost one of their last 23 games. So no shock there, but at the same point in time, you just can't be in the locker room doing that kind of stuff. So I think there's a number of factors in addition to just placing bets on other teams in the league that led to his lifetime suspension.
Scott, as always, buddy, thank you for making some time. We appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. I'll gift wrap those flip phones and get them out to you shortly. I got
got
$100. I don't think you can beat that deal.
You're the best, pal.
Scott
Thank
Williams joining us here on Rock and Manuch with Jimmy B coming up.
No, sir.
Yeah, we need a contestant to challenge one of the beautiful Twin Peaks girls from our dear nation, which is where we are hanging out.